The most widespread argument for the idea that not only is John's chronology right, but it's the only one that's plausible, is the idea that Jesus could not have been executed on a feast day. This is a big one, right? So you'll see scholars who are advocates of the Johannine hypothesis say it's impossible that Jesus could have been tried by the Sanhedrin and executed on a feast day, because if you look at Mishnah Betzah, the tractate on Betzah, it says that basically there's no sitting in judgment on a feast day. You can't do it, right? Now, it's another one of those cases when you go back to the actual Mishnaic passage, you read it in context, you can see the scholars are taking it out of context. I don't want to go into all the details here. Let's just say this, that if you look at it in context, the Mishnah is clearly talking about minor court activities in local Sanhedrins throughout the land after the destruction of the temple. They're not talking about the Jerusalem temple. So it's questionable whether that ruling would even hold for the 1st century AD. But even more importantly, in the actual tractate on the Sanhedrin, in Mishnah and Tosefta, the two collections of early rabbinic traditions, it also says that if someone is a false prophet, all right, that you have to execute them on the feast so that Deuteronomy 17 might be fulfilled, that the people will see and hear and fear and obey. In other words, there were certain cases, capital crimes, that you actually would keep the criminal until the feast day and then execute them on the feast day as a public show of warning to the people not to, transgress the Torah, not to be a false prophet or to lead others astray or commit some kind of grave crime. That's in Tosefta Sanhedrin 11, verse 17. So, look, this is really important. And many scholars who say, the Johannine hypothesis is the only one that makes sense, what they'll say is it's implausible that the Sanhedrin would have put him to death on a feast day. It's hard to imagine. And they have no 1st century evidence that it was actually prohibited. And what they almost invariably ignore is that the same rabbinic traditions they'll cite in other cases actually say you have to execute certain criminals on a feast day.